All right, let's dive into a really powerful, kind of mythic origin story. Today, we're exploring the prologue of a figure known as their Grün-Guld Narr. That's the verdant and gold jester. It's this incredible tale that kind of fuses the epic feel of a prophet's descent with the grim, bloody tragedy of a Norse saga.
So, to really get to the heart of this story, we have to start with a pretty challenging question. What if everything we celebrate in those epic tales, the glory, the honor, the heroic will, what if it's all ultimately just absurd? That's the core idea our jester has come to teach. Our story kicks off deep, deep beneath the ground. For 1,000 years, this entity was just waiting. But this isn't about the resurrection of a person. It's more like the germination of an idea. Something ancient, something primal, just waiting for exactly the right moment to sprout. And he's sleeping in what's called a hauger. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand what that is. This isn't just any old grave. It's a hero's barrow. It's a monument built to honor a life of glorious struggle and violent death. The very place meant to preserve a heroic legacy is the cradle for the one being who will come to mock it all. So, what wakes him up? It's not some magic spell or a divine command. It's the end of a cycle, the very last drop of a heroic bloodline spilled in yet another pointless conflict, soaks into the earth, and boom, that's the trigger. The end of the old saga is literally the first line of his new joke. And his appearance is just a walking paradox. One half of him is verdant green. That's the color of the chaotic, totally indifferent earth that just reclaims everything, heroes, kings, all their ambitions. The other half is tarnished gold, representing the very thing they all strive for, that cursed treasure, that corrupting power that fuels their entire tragic story. And the second he's awake, the first great conflict begins. But this isn't a battle of swords, it's a battle of ideas. You've got the ancient, honored tradition of the heroic saga on one side, and the jester's brand new, completely unnerving philosophy of the cosmic joke on the other. So the first person he meets is a skald. He's the keeper of the stories, the voice of the establishment. This guy is singing about Sigurd and the Volsungs, these incredible tales of courage, tragedy, and honor. He basically represents the old world order, the belief that the struggle has meaning. For the skald, this worldview is absolute. These epic poems aren't just stories to him, they are truth with a capital T. They're the moral and historical bedrock of his entire culture. The hero's will, the oaths they keep, the blood they avenge, this is what gives life meaning. And the jester's response just shatters that entire worldview. He doesn't just disagree with the skald, he reframes their entire sacred history. He calls it a long, bloody joke, all driven by the poison of the gold. To him, an oath is just a pretty cage, and vengeance is nothing more than the earth calling for fertilizer. And right there, that reveals his mission. He's come to teach humanity about the will Narr, or the will fool. His lesson is that the heroic will, that intense strive to conquer and achieve and win, is always, always swallowed by the cosmic indifference of the fool. So this whole prologue is building to its climax. The jester takes his abstract philosophy and goes straight to the center of power. He's about to deliver his sermon at the Great Assembly. And the setting here is so important. The Thing was the heart of Viking political and social life. It's where they made laws and settled disputes, which were often about, you guessed it, wealth and honor. It is the absolute perfect stage for the jester's message. He gets there and finds them arguing over a single gold arm ring. I mean, the symbolism is perfect. And he kicks off his sermon not by condemning them, but by showing them what they already believe. He holds up the very idea of gold. He starts by basically agreeing with them. The gold, he says, that's the source of your will. It's what makes you slay dragons, seek power, and even break your most sacred promises. He calls it the hero's fate. And you can imagine them all nodding along, because this they understand. But then comes the pivot, the part of the joke they have never, ever heard before. He introduces the other half of his being, the total counterpoint to all their ambition. He explains that the very second the will seizes the gold, the green, this verdant absurdity steps onto the stage. All that striving only leads to the burial mound and the wound. All their glorious struggle does is make the soil richer for the grass. The earth is the silent audience to their grand play, and it does not applaud. So the sermon is delivered, but a joke only works if the audience gets it. In this audience, well, they don't. Not at all. Their reaction is this mix of confusion and pure anger. To them, he isn't just speaking nonsense. He is insulting the very foundation of their identity. He's calling their heroes, their glorious ancestors, a bunch of fools. He's a dangerous madman. And so the response is, of course, a threat of violence. A big berserker raises his axe, basically shouting, "Your philosophy is worthless here. Power is the only language we speak. This is the will, personified, trying to physically destroy the idea that mocks us." And what does the jester do? He doesn't draw his own axe. He doesn't run away. He does something completely outside of their script, totally breaks their frame of reference. His weapon is laughter. But it's not a laugh of joy or of malice. It's the sound of pure, uncontrollable chaos. And in that moment, he turns the berserker's rage, his powerful will, into just another part of the cosmic joke. And it paralyzes the warrior. I mean, how can you strike a man who makes your own fury absurd? This is his final judgment. He basically says, "I know you see me as a fool, but the real truth is, you haven't even begun to grasp the joke I represent." They aren't ready for his truth, so he just turns his back and walks away. He leaves because the people are not yet worthy of his laughter. And that just leaves us with this incredible, lingering question to think about. What does that even mean to become worthy? What level of understanding do you need to not just hear the punchline of your own life struggle, but to actually get it?